What is up, Sideways fam? We're back into another video, and we're here in City of Industry right now picking up another 2jz for another project that we're doing right now. So we're here at the customer's house, and we have a nice G35 right here that we're going to be starting the whole project on. It's bone stock, 6-speed, manual, basically stock car that is running and driving. We're going to go ahead and pick up the car right now and drive it home. Angel was nice enough to let us use his work truck, and 2jz is right here on a pallet. I guess the car came with a W58 or something, and they ended up selling it for some reason, or I don't know, but they paid like $10,000 for this engine. I don't know why they paid so much, but I mean, it is what it is. We're going to go ahead and get it done. We've already ordered the kit from Colin's garage to go ahead and convert the CD009 to the 2jz GTE. He has a Borg Warner S366 SXC turbo, a Mishimoto intercooler that we see right here behind me, and a couple other parts that he's already ordered. So we're gonna go ahead and get everything loaded up right now, get it in the truck, get the car to the shop, and then we'll start ripping it apart. We're here at the G35 at the shop right now, and as you can see, Caden and Vinny are going ham, pulling this thing apart right now. We got the car on the rack after the other day, getting the engine loaded up and doing all the other stuff. So let's go ahead and flip the camera right now and talk about what we're going to be doing. So we got his 2jz GTE on the stand right here, and this is the same one that we obviously have from the other one. You can see the front cover's cut. Everything's still factory, still on the engine. We're going to go ahead and start tearing that down here pretty soon. And on this, we will be doing a 2jz, obviously 2jz GTE Swap. You saw that earlier in the video, but bumper's been removed. We're gonna go ahead and pull the whole entire front end off the car. So the bumper support has to come out, headlights have to be unplugged. This whole support is FRP fiberglass. You can see it right here, fiberglass composite. That'll go ahead and get removed. We're gonna be removing the AC and everything else too, just because we wanna make sure we have enough cooling for the amount of horsepower the customer wants. And I mean, yes, it probably could be capability of doing AC in the car, only because of the fact that I do see the AC lines are over here on this side, and the compressor is somewhere on this side as well. But considering that I've never done one of these cars before, I don't know how much room we're gonna have to be able to get this done. I don't wanna get into having overheating problems before we're even done tuning. So maybe later we can go ahead and do that, and we'll go ahead and keep the whole unit and be able to put it all back in the car later. But for now, we're just gonna go ahead and just get it all together on the car. So they're gonna go ahead and pull the engine right now. We're gonna have to just get this apart first and detach everything we can. We'll get the ECU out of the firewall and start getting into the dash, because the plan was to do more of like a race setup on this, where we're gonna be going ahead and removing the AC blower and all the other stuff underneath the dash, mounting the ECU against the firewall like we typically do in a lot of the other cars that we do for like race and drift car setups like that. And then we'll go ahead and go forward. I will go over a few things on the car that are really, really cool. The car already does have BC coilovers. We got some really nice Volk racing rims. These have been one of my favorites for a long time as well. A 6-speed CD009 car, and the interior is not too shoddy. So we're gonna go ahead and be mounting something up here for the BTI, and we're gonna try to get the shifter to sit as, you know, close to where it's supposed to be. Car's gutted in the back right now. I have no idea why, but we will be putting a surge tank in the back. I believe the fuel pump's somewhere over here from what I've seen for the G35 thing. Overall, the car's pretty clean. So it'll be a pretty cool JZ car. We're thinking about possibly getting the hood painted and trying to match the bumper and a couple other small things just to make the car look a little bit better, since this is gonna be a really cool showpiece for the shop. So we'll get some more shots of this when we're a little bit closer, and once we've gotten everything off, to show you guys what needs to be done to get this out of the car. I know the engine's gonna be kind of a pain in the ass to get out, because obviously I've just heard from everybody that these are just super, super crappy to be working on in the car, and I've never been a big fan of it anyways, but let's go ahead and get the engine out. All right, guys, so it is a new week, and we're gonna finally finish getting out the engine in this G35. This was kind of a pain in the ass, actually. A lot of little kind of odds and ends and in tough places to get to everything. Couple things that we're actually gonna be doing. So I'm gonna leave the AC in the car for now, just because I don't wanna deal with decharging that right this second. All that kind of runs through everything. We went ahead and removed the whole front end, because obviously we're gonna try to pull this whole entire thing out the front like we'd already discussed earlier. We still need to get the power steering out, some of the other little odds and ends. And as you can see, the harness actually goes down here, kind of like how an S13 would go up into here. You got some connectors down here by the firewall over here, and then the whole harness will come out of the car. So Vinny's working on that in the car right now. He's over here underneath the dash, just, you know, breaking his neck. So I'm over here working on the engine on a stand. I've already got pretty much 25% of the turbos done over here. So we're gonna go ahead and remove the intake manifold, which is pretty easy. There's one bracket up here. You got a few bolts on the sides and some connectors that are there. We're gonna go ahead and throw the wiring harness that he has right here in the trash, since they went ahead and chopped everything off that was usable. And yeah, kind of interesting. This one doesn't have an OEM oil filter cooler setup. It's been deleted. We typically do that as well, but we usually put like a sandwich plate because they need to have sensors for their standalone. So I don't know why they did that, but it kind of is what it is. These shitty turbos are going to be coming off. Just put some WD-40 on. I'm letting it soak a little bit, but I'm already pretty much halfway through that. I'm already pretty through with this. Just got to go ahead and break a few more bolts loose. Kind of a little bit of a quick trick on the twin turbos, you guys. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but I will show you. You're gonna have these 3-bolt turbos on here. So you're gonna have one here and 2 on the bottom, and then 2 on the top and 1 on the bottom, because it's kind of like a reverse bolt pattern. What you're gonna do is go ahead and just get those 3 bolts off. You can pull the whole manifold off just like this, and then you can just impact gun the whole entire exhaust manifold off the head and kind of avoid stripping anything or messing anything up, because you're probably gonna have to reuse these bolts anyways for your manifold. And then we gotta, to get to the bottom ones, what I normally do is this whole assembly right here that's down here on the floor. You have to go ahead and remove this. There's a bracket in here, and then you're gonna go ahead and unbolt these drain lines on both sides. And then at that point, you can get your wrench in here to break these bottom bolts loose, and then go ahead and remove it from that engine. So just a quick little tip and trick on that. We're gonna go ahead and get this thing stripped down. We already had the brand new clutch kit from Cullens and their whole entire kit in the office. We got their brand new short shifter, a couple other really cool things. So we're gonna be getting it on the floor right here and then going over what we're gonna be doing to get it in the car. All right, guys, so as we can see, they got the engine out. CD transmissions here still attached to it and everything, and the whole entire car has been pulled apart and empty now. So now we're gonna go ahead and decharge the AC with our machine and go ahead and scrub the whole bay down to where this is all nice and pretty again for the customer. And then we're gonna go ahead and rip that trans off right now and get the adapter kit bolted onto his 2J. They almost have all the rest of the intake manifold and exhaust manifold pulled off right now, so this should be pretty quick to get all this stuff done, and we'll get on to the next part of the build. So right now we're gonna go ahead and get the engine mounts off of the old engine, start pulling the CD off, and we've already gotten the engine mount brackets where they're supposed to be, with the engine going all the way back as much as we possibly can. It seems to line up okay, so we're gonna get these bolted in right now. We're gonna go ahead and remove the power steering lines, because obviously the JZ's on this side, and try to get the engine back in the car today. Get the transmission bolted up and whatever else we can possibly do to get that done. So we're gonna go ahead and start installing the clutch kit. So I'm gonna bring that out right now, and then I'll show you where we're going from here. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and go over this Cullens adapter kit really quickly. I'm gonna make a separate video on this too for people that are gonna be installing this, just because I think it'll be good content and everybody's gonna wanna know. So for everybody that wants to see, Cullens has this big flywheel that's for the no-cut kit. This is gonna be the cut kit style flywheel, and obviously you're gonna run your 350Z clutch of whatever the deal is gonna be. So, but in the case of this, we're doing the no-cut kit. They do have a new release bearing that replaces the one that comes out of your car like this, and you go ahead and slide it on like this. There's nothing really to this. I've already installed it, but we need to re-grease it anyways. So I'll pop this out, and that's the new bearing assembly that they give you. Obviously grease it and put the clip on from your other release bearing onto this one. So that's pretty self-explanatory. They have this beautiful cross member that is gonna bolt in with a mount that you can buy all together. And we also ordered a short shifter for another customer that we may end up trying in this, because we do not know if we're gonna have to cut it. But this is the Cullens short shifter kit for the IS300. If you were gonna use it in a Z, you would just end up not using this attachment right here to move it. Their pilot bearings right here, similar to all the rest of the kits that you have. This is gonna get hammered into the crankshaft, and then your input shaft for your Nissan will now go onto there. So that's kind of how that works. You bolt this in, that goes in the middle of it, you torque everything down. For the flywheel with their ARP bolt package that they left us, I believe they're right here. And as we can kind of see through the package, they are ARP bolts. So that's gonna go ahead and mount that. Now over here on the adapter plate, just to kind of run through it really quickly. Adapter plate goes on, we're gonna have to remove the manual pilot bearing that was in it. And in this case, since we're using the Collins adapter kit, you will go ahead and put these studs in, and then your starter will be able to be disconnectable by drilling it out. So we're gonna go ahead and get the clutch kit all put together right now, get it all bolted together, and then get it in the car. Okay guys, so we went ahead and got everything finished up to get it in the engine permanently now. Engine mounts are pretty much set. We already kind of put it in and out a few times just to see if we can get the engine straight in the car. There's a lot of adjustment on the mounts where you can go up and down and side to side and all the rest of it, along with the factory chassis has slots. You can slot the engine side to side as well. So what we're gonna be going ahead and doing is transmission. We went ahead and test fitted. The shifter actually needs to be cut down like pretty much all the way down. So you got this super nice Collins garage or Collins adapter short shifter, and it feels amazing. The bottom piece in here, you'll have to go ahead and knock out your clevis pin in here with a set of the what?
Meat and potatoes.
Meat and potatoes.
Get down to brass tacks here.
Brass tacks. Anyways, you'll need a punch to get these out, and we have the other end of this. We're gonna get ahead and put on the cross members bolted on. We can go ahead and adjust that and slot that in. So we're gonna go ahead and finally plant this thing permanently in the car. All right guys, so she is in. Bottom of this is all nice and super straight. We went ahead and tightened the bottom engine mounts already, went ahead and got the slave cylinder already all done. Brand new Collins cross member all the way hooked up and done. Shifter is pretty much all the way in the center, as best as you're gonna possibly get for without having to pay somebody a bunch of money to cut and weld it. I believe it was only like another $100 more to go ahead and get the full brand new billet shifter versus having it cut and welded by Collins. And I mean, I could have done it myself as well, but in the case of we're just trying to make the kit quick, easy, installable, and see how good it is, shifter works great. So full kit that you're gonna need to order for your car for G35, or I guess 250Z, which would be the same exact thing, would be you're gonna need a cross member with the mount. You're gonna go ahead and need a short shifter. You're gonna go ahead and need their engine mount brackets up here that you can see that are super slotted and super adjustable. Just sits really, really well on both sides. You just don't need to tighten the top plates up, but the engine sits where it's supposed to sit. Let me go ahead and go down, show you guys where we're sitting in the engine bay, how straight it is and how it's all gonna fit down. And yeah guys, until next time, we're gonna go ahead and get everything, the turbo on, intake manifold. We're gonna be painting some stuff up for the customer, making it look nice. So let's check it out right now. All right guys, so I'm gonna show you guys real quick some different manifolds and fitment for all this stuff. So this is like the typical Superstore, or like CX Racing twin scroll manifold that everybody pretty much runs on all of their stuff. I mean, if you go in to even about here, you'll see that this flange is going to hit right here on the shock tower, and it's even higher down here than it is here. So obviously standard style Supra isn't gonna fit on this, and this is not gonna be able to work. So this is gonna go out of the question. I told the customer I was gonna go ahead and mock some stuff up. Then we have the HP series manifold, which is gonna be similar to the Peak Boost one. This one's just done in a little bit different stainless than the other one. Even just getting this in here, there's just like no way in hell that you're gonna do this. If you were gonna go this way, let's just say we were able to even get in here. Look at how much more we need to come up over here to where the turbo would literally be in the shock tower. So there's no way this is gonna fit either. Which it would have been nice to have had a turbo come up here or whatever, but you would need a very skinny manifold to do that. So what we're gonna end up doing, because if anybody knows anything about what he has the biggest turbo in the world. It's a BorgWarner S366 SXE. This is the billet wheel, which is actually really, really good. They're twin scroll. You have a Marmon flange. I'm not a huge fan of this turbo, only for the fact that you have to deal with cutting this down or modifying your downpipe. The fittings, we don't readily have available. You have to get a different one of these as well. This is really, really big, and the housing is super bulky for a wheel that basically is the size of like a 64 or a 66, maybe a 68. I haven't measured the blade, so I can't tell you, but I know it's still gonna be a 60 series turbo for a turbo that looks like it should be like a T88. Really, really, really big, and it just doesn't fit very well. So his best bet's gonna be to go with a treadstone manifold, which is kind of what we had already mocked up in here. This is a log style manifold. We use this on the majority of our Supra stuff. It's gonna be like around 600 horsepower. So if we get just 2 bolts and screw this on, we already see we have room. I don't know if the BorgWarner is gonna fit, which is what I had already told him from the get-go, that I think the turbo is just too big. and that it's going to end up making a lot of problems and drama of getting it all together and done at the end. But as we can see, we have success at it fitting. We're still going to have to do our modification to this manifold. Like you've seen any of our other videos, I do have to port the wastegate hole at the bottom, which is nice because the wastegate will go down here. We can put a screener pipe out here, and you have all the room in the world to clock your turbo down. If you were going to come around like this, like a Supra into it, or even just come 90 out here and into the intercooler here, a lot of room to work with it. So I'm a very, very big fan of these manifolds. And I mean, like I've said, I've seen people make about 750 on these manifolds. Some people like to argue and say that you'll lose top end for running something like this on your car. I mean, yes, you will sacrifice a little bit of top end, but I think having mid-range power is a lot more worth being able to do that. I mean, this is just a little bit to end the video on like us mocking stuff up. We're gonna run factory intake manifold on this. We're gonna be painting everything up, doing this white, painting the valve covers black, putting cams in it. We're gonna be doing a lot of other stuff in the next videos to come. We're gonna be pulling the water neck off, replacing the gaskets, welding these shut. We've already welded up all the ports and everything else on the engine, doing turbo lines, building a downpipe. There's a lot more gonna go into this to get this thing done. I'm still gonna be building the wiring harness for this thing. But engine and transmission are in. We're gonna go ahead and get measurements for drive shaft, go ahead and get that done, probably before the next video. I don't really need to show you guys anything about that, but I can go over it quickly on the next one, tell you the measurements that we got and what it's all gonna be. So getting into the turbo, I'm gonna show you guys kind of two options here. So Bort Warner, here is your huge, super big bad boy. So first problem we're gonna have is right here, you can see we're hitting the brake line. Okay, so yes, this brake line can be moved. We can go ahead and move this back here, rerun the line, hook it back up and in, but even just overall, we're kind of close to the flange, we're kind of not close to the flange, but we have reasonable amount of room for the exhaust housing on this side. You can kind of see we're probably gonna be somewhere in this vicinity. You see the rear housing right here against the shock tower. So we're gonna be like this. We're really just hitting right here, which is part of the problem of why we're having the whole entire escapade with this whole thing. But I wanted just to show you guys, and like the fitment's great. You can go down, we can clock it in, we can whatever. So even with the big turbo like this, there's gonna be enough room for the downpipe. Everything's gonna work really well. And it's still gonna be able to get them to about 700 horsepower. Let's just say 800 horsepower anyways. So let's go ahead and get the comp that we test fitted earlier. And this is gonna be a little bit different because obviously I don't have this turbo super clocked or anything, but this is from one of our old Supras that we used to have lying around. You can just see almost immediately, look guys, we have all the room in the world on the compressor housing. We have all the room in the world on the rear housing, and there's like no problems in any way. So precision or comp is gonna be a way better turbo to run with this. We can run a 45 down, we can run a 90 out, whatever we wanna do. So this is the turbo that I would have chose personally. This is a 68. And if you kind of look at the sizing of the blades next to each other, they're pretty comparable. I almost want to say the comp is probably bigger. So huge waste of compressor housing, of space. Not to mention the other issue with the whole entire thing on this is that the rear housing on the turbo is a 1.0, and our turbos we typically run on this is at 81. It gives it a lot quicker spool, and they're open scroll anyways as well. So my opinion of this is I would have chosen a precision or a comp turbo. You would have had more room, easier to work on, no modification, didn't have to move your brake line, didn't have to do anything, but the customer wants to go ahead and run this. So that's pretty much gonna end me showing what we're gonna go ahead and do. We're gonna get the engine bay all nice and cleaned up, and we'll be getting into a new video. Guys, so as we can see, everything's all in. She fits super awesome. Super, super, super dope build. Cannot wait to get this thing done. It's gonna sound amazing. It's just gonna be another one of those super cool cars that's kind of the new 240SX, the new Honda Civic, the new everything, just like the IS300 and all the other cars that have been coming in and getting dealt with. I think the two most popular cars you're gonna see are 350Z, G35, IS300, and GS300 back there too as well. So if you guys have any questions about this, go ahead and hit me up. We're gonna have a couple more videos on this, probably 2 or 3 videos of building this. We also have a new car that came in today as well. That I'll go over real quickly and show you a quick little clip of real quick outside. Our buddy Demetrius from Superculture with our buddy Andrew from Superculture. This is their 370Z kit that they did with the 1jzgte on a full standalone that we're going to be putting together in a whole bunch of stuff. They got a whole bunch of shitty kits. I love the Afro Samurai livery on the side. Super, super cool. But anyways, guys, keep it up and keep watching. And until next time, guys, peace.